Friends fade or they don't make the grade. New ones are quickly made perfect as long as they're new.
I love working on it. I think that Stephen Sondheim and George Firth are both geniuses, and I am so excited to bring our production of Merrily to a wider audience.
Rolling along, rolling along, rolling along, rolling along.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Will Leggetter.
And today we continue our Sondheim-thon. Well, it's the new year now. Just done 7 audio commentaries. Yes, we've just done 7 audio commentaries. Will, we were jolly and merry and drunk and all that sort of stuff. And now it's back to the world of Sondheim, and we have 7 episodes in our main feed. I've actually ended up lining up a few bonus episodes. Ooh, how exciting! With some previous guests and their favourite Sondheims. So we'll see what comes of that. I think actually 2 of them will already have come out. As anybody who will later listen to my There Will Be Blood episode will know, my computer is finally packed in, and so I have no camera for our video listeners, and so I have chosen the greatest star of stage and screen, Miss Imelda Staunton, and Will had chosen, I believe his name is Greg Turode.
No, right. You're getting 2 people mixed up there.
You're getting MasterChef wrong.
This is. Oh, hello. So this is Greg Wallace and John Turode, Steeler guy.
I'm going to type in, Will, Greg Wallace Sondheim and just see what comes up. Nothing. Nothing. Gregory Wallace. Gregory. So apparently there's a guy on YouTube called Gregory Wallace who uploads a load of Sondheim clips. Anyway, maybe it's Greg Wallace. Do you remember when we found out Alan Tishmarch had Remember from A Little Night Music in one of his Desert Island discs? Well, merrily we again for our video listeners, Will is having a lot of fun with creating fake names. He's currently Jack Hoff. Well, do you feel proud?
I do. It's funny.
Me and my dad and my grandma and my mum and Isabel, my sister, went to Cadbury World, and my dad put as the name on one of those like things that comes up where you make Cadbury's advert as Hugh Janus, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And my grandma Chris thought he'd put up the most profane filth you'd ever seen, and reacted as if he'd, I don't know, said "you dirty bastard" or something. Merrily We Roll Along, Will. This has been a series of
Sondheim.
Yes, Sondheim. But for you, Will, it has been a series of virginities. In that many of these shows you hadn't seen or heard or knew very little of. What is your relationship with Merrily We Roll Along?
I knew nothing about it.
Did you not even know that it went backwards?
No. I heard the name when I make like musical quizzes and stuff, and you have to fit words into titles. But no, I didn't even know Sondheim had written it until you told me about it. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Didn't even know the plot. I thought it was about like Merrily We Roll Along. I thought it was about like wagons.
Okay, so you thought it was a frontier musical.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you found out that it was so you didn't know it was backwards until you literally there's a phone in this room. There's no landline. Do you remember having landlines, Will? I can't even find the phone. I can't even find the phone. The phone is nowhere to be found. I'm going to quite literally pause this recording until the phone, and there we go. The phone has stopped, and we just had a discussion about the layout of my house, and Will had the revelation I have pooed in both of your toilets, which was a lovely thing to know. Back to Merrily We Roll Along. Musical lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, book by George Firth. George Firth, obviously, is collaborator on Company. I want, after we look at Lapine, I want to have a sort of battle of the collaborators, or between when it comes to, would you rather have Company and Merrily We Roll Along, Hugh Wheeler, so Sweeney Todd and Little Night Music, John Weidman, Follies and Assassins, or Into the Woods and Sunday in the Park with George and Passion? At this point, before returning to Into the Woods and Sunday and introducing yourself to Passion, Will, what is your go-to feeling?
My go-to feeling is Sweeney Todd.
Well, it's always going to be Sweeney, and the fact that you liked in Little Night Music will help that.
Yeah.
This is the problem, isn't it? It's like it's your top tier pick, and then it's okay. What's your bonus show? Merrily We Roll Along. So we watched the Maria Friedman wonderful capturing of her production of the Meniere, Chocolate Factory, which opened on November, the 28th of November 2012, and then transferred to the Harold Pinter Theatre in 2013, at which point it was filmed for digital theatre. And, of course...
Do you know what's coming to the Harold Pinter Theatre this month?
This very month, so Prima Facie is leaving. I don't know.
The Great British Bake Off, the musical.
Oh, no, it's not, Will. It's going to the Noel Coward Theatre.
Oh, I get mixed up with my British playwright.
Yeah, it's going to the Noel Coward Theatre, and I believe it's taking over from Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh well, yeah.
You hate Dear Evan. You know what? Elaine Page played a god. We were going to a christening, and we went to we were going to a christening, and so we heard the 1 while or the 2 while 3 slots of Elaine Page, which included Dear Evan Hansen and a nice song from a show called Robert and Elizabeth. And then we started to get into the car park to park, and then they said, and next, our tribute to Angela Lansbury. And then we all had to go inside for the christening. So the hour that I would have liked to listen to, and instead I had to listen to Words Fail. Have you ever walked outside, but you're really sad, and you don't know, and you can't find what you want, but you have to look around? Bad show. Will, I'm guessing you haven't been to the Harold Pinter Theatre or the Meniere Chocolate Factory.
No.
I've been to both, and I think
okay.
I know, big brag. The Meniere Chocolate Factory is tiny. It is so tiny and intimate, and it's a wonderful space, and I can see. I mean, we're getting some of that by watching it up close on a camera, but I'm amazed that it works as well in a huge theatre, which it does. I'm sure those intimate scenes were even more intimate and wonderful, and I'm sure some of those bigger songs were absolutely bombastic in that space. And but overall, I think it's a pretty sterling production. Of course, Maria Friedman is an incredible director, but let's not forget that she, of course, was in the original London production of Merrily We Roll Along in 1992 as Mary.
As Mary We Roll Along.
That was her full name, yes. She also was in the original London production of Passion with Michael Ball, which, of course, we will get to in, for you guys, it's 3 weeks. For us, it's 5 months. So you, quite literally, until you pressed play on this, what was your reaction then when that Frank they start going 1975, 1974.
Cool.
I don't want to patronize you, but did you get it?
Yeah, no, yes, I did. I would say my very first thoughts of when it started, I was like, oh, it's just company.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Another sad, middle-aged, lonely man.
Yeah, it is just company, but it's great. No, yeah, I know. I enjoyed the. I think it's a very good concept for a musical.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's done better in the last 5 years.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I think the last 5 years, I don't like the music. Well, no, now we're talking about the music. I don't know. I think the last 5 years muddies itself and doesn't have it doesn't have the scope of this. This is an epic show, whilst also being this very intimate character study,
as shown by the ratings.
Okay, all right, let's talk about this then. All right, let's talk about this. So it can't be underestimated to what extent, as much as Anyone Can Whistle is everybody's favorite, actually Anyone Can Whistle is my favorite song now. Merrily We Roll Along now. Well, I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, that was the first London revival of a Sondheim show after he died, because I mean, obviously it'd already been set up, and we're seeing lots of revivals being announced now, including a Broadway Merrily We Roll Along with a cast that I'm excited for. That was the first one, and I was like, oh, this is going to be the first Sondheim music played on the West End. It's based off the play of the same name by George S. Kaufman and Moss Hart. Now, the original play told the story of Richard Niles, who is revealed on the opening night of his latest play to be a pretentious playwright of successful but forgettable light comedies. And over the course of the play, we find that obviously it's the exact same plot. So, he had two friends, pardon me, two friends who some of them sacrifice ambition, and some of them sacrifice money, and some of them sacrifice love, and some of them sacrifice their artistic integrity. And
sacrifice their pet goats.
What's that a reference to?
I don't know. Just the ancient Aztecs, probably.
Sacrifice the pet goat. Oh, are you just making a joke about sacrifice?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I was late on that one. Well, that's like Anna's Only Values. When she's talking about being a virgin, and she goes, "I'm ready to make the ultimate sacrifice," and Fester goes, "A goat." Yes, three friends, and that ends how this one originally ended with this college graduation, where he sorry, really messed up that word there. Did you hear?
I did.
Graduation. There's no cameras, so I feel like I'm in a crazy world.
My crazy
auntie. We don't have time to do that. Sorry.
No,
we do have time. We had an assignment in college. We went around the room, and our teacher Phil said, name a random toy. And somebody said a bunny, and name a random whatever, and name a random setting. And we all thought it was quite fun. And then suddenly he said, I want you to now take all of these things, write a monologue, and perform it next week. You did this wonderful thing about the 7/7 bombings, and it was, and your kids dropped the toy and all that sort of thing. What do you think was the biggest stretch in that monologue?
That it was 7/7. No, that was the only realistic part. I'll clarify. My monologue was about this guy who was lonely, and so he joined this pen pal thing. And it turns out, as he was speaking to this person, he learned more and more about them, that it was his long lost daughter.
Oh yes, that was
and
it.
So they were meeting up for the day they met up. He was waiting for Paddington Station, and then it was 7/7.
Yes, I do remember that. And I did some Twilight Zone old Hollywood producer, and he was like, a story about Paddington Station, what a load of shit. Or what, I just basically worked everything in that way. But we had one girl who just went, my crazy auntie. And she had a load of toys, my crazy auntie. And can I start again? And then Phil, who opened up his pep talk, shall we call it, by saying, this is your final piece. Imagine this is your final piece monologue and you can't start again. And then within 5 minutes, she goes, not 5 minutes, 1 minute, she goes, can I start again? And he says nothing and just lets him die on that stage. And she has to go back into, my crazy auntie. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. We'll talk about the original play throughout. This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. This is the end of the wonderful collaboration that gave us some of the greatest musicals of all time. Stephen Sondheim with Hal Prince as director. Gives us Company, Anyone Can Whistle, Pacific Overtures, Little Night Music, Sweeney Todd, and then Merrily We Roll Along comes along. And it can't be underestimated. For me, obviously, it's a lot very different. But this show, in many ways, you can't help but watch it and go, oh, that's kind of a bit like Al and Steve.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that Sondheim comes to overall is that you can be a hack and not be successful. And that's allowed. No, sorry. You can be a hack and be successful. That's allowed. And you can be a maverick and eat soup cans all day. But the biggest thing was that they were mavericks and they were successful, and people resented them for that. And it got to a point of Sondheim feeling that they were being rooted against. And that's obviously unfair, but that was the way it went. And yeah, Merrily We Roll Along is this mythic, critical and commercial failure. It's obviously gained a second life. It was majorly revised in 1985, then majorly revised again. Well, not majorly revised, but revised again in the late 90s. And now the show that we have currently, again, just I personally think it's one of the great shows. I think the scenes are great. I think the songs are all great. And I think it's a concept incredibly, incredibly well delivered. Yeah, what's your overall feeling, Will, before we start getting into the granular of things?
Of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it missed the mark for me. I'm not saying it was bad.
I was going to say, you do sound a bit Luke on it.
I did enjoy it. I think it's great songs. But for me, it promised to be this big thing. And it was just everything they've done before. I don't think it was a necessary musical.
Wow, can I have a little bit more there? You don't think it was a necessary musical?
I'll strike that because he's just died. Strike anything. As in, it promises you write a new musical with this whole cool concept. And this great story, and then you write it, and you're like, "Oh, that's just that song that I did. Oh, and that's what that scene I did 5 years ago." And it's yeah.
So for you, it sort of felt a little empty.
It felt an amalgamation of Sondheim,
all right, yeah,
rather than its own piece.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I can feel a sort of overall. I think it's because, let's talk about this. He's writing intentionally 32-bar songs, and he is, AA, BA, Prime, and all that sort of thing, and Gershwin and Porter. And these are strictly pop songs. And unlike, I don't know, taking a few, I don't know, let's just take Sweeney. Joanna Reprise is not going to be a hit, whereas Not a Day Goes By could be a hit, Old Friends could be a hit, Merrily We Roll Along could be a hit, Our Time could be a hit, Growing Up could be a hit, Good Thing Going was a hit for Frank Sinatra. Like the only songs that are really book songs are Franklin Shepherd Inc., Opening Doors. I haven't adjusted my song rankings. Oh, where's Opening Doors going to go? Oh, I'm going to put it there. How exciting. These, for the most part, aren't the sort of book songs that we expect. And there isn't a sort of overall cohesive musical grandeur to this. Of course, there is the constant, motifs of Old Friends and, along with and all these little musical motifs, but no, it doesn't have a sort of grandness to it. And Merrily We Roll Along, the transitions, I won't say grating because it's a lovely piece of music. But it does grow. It does grow, not monotonous. I'm trying to think of the word. It's by design supposed to be sort of hypnotic almost, in the sense of, we're going back in time, and it's okay, we're going back again. We're rolling back. We're rolling along. Now, I don't know. Obviously, this is your first watch, and I'm trying to think of how I found it on a first watch. I don't know. Is it one of these great tragedies where, like, next time you watch it, you'll enjoy it more? I don't know. Now that you know the whole arc of the piece, or
I really hope so.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So Sondheim considered it. He considered at the time that if the story spanned a bit more time, say, for instance, a lot of it was in the 60s, a lot of it was in the 70s, and a lot of it was in the 80s, that he would make the music a little bit more different each time. However, he didn't think he could put enough subtlety or major changes musically, for instance, of changes between 1964 to 1969. So he decided to stick with this score as we have it.
That would have been cool, though. The music is sort of in the style of the period it's set.
Yes, and I think we get a bit of that. Especially Bobby and Jackie and Jack, and I think that Frank has a sort of propulsive coke energy to it, for lack of a better way to say it. So Franklin Shepherd as a character was supposedly modelled on Marvin Hamlish, who of course wrote the music for a chorus line. Am I getting this right? Marvin Hamlish.
It's your cousin, Marvin.
Hamlish. He wrote the music for the film The Sting. He wrote he wrote the song The Way We Were. He wrote I tell you what he did write, Will. What? Nobody does it better. Yeah. He did a chorus line, and for the most part it seemed that Sondheim and Prince thought that he had sold out a little bit, and could have continued to be this great composer and could have written many other works in the style of a chorus line, but didn't, and ended up writing hit pop songs like Nobody Does It Better, like The Way We Were. I think the big difference is, and a lot of people have said this, and Lonnie Prince says that, Lonnie Price, this is going to get very annoying, Harold Prince and Lonnie Price. Lonnie Price, who we've talked about before, is the director of the wonderful Company at the Philharmonic that we watched, and the Emma Thompson, Brian Turfel,
great.
Naughty Todd. None of us have videos on, so we can't. But I'm sure we're both doing the exact same thing. Of should we?
Do we rip up our scripts?
And of course, has become an incredible director in his own right. But as I think I mentioned on both of those episodes, he was in the original production as Charlie, and it was his only major Broadway credit. But anyway, he said that the Hamlish thing doesn't really work because Hamlish love being a celebrity and love being in the spotlight. And so that sort of one-for-one correlation doesn't really work, because as we see with Frank, whether it's bullshit or not, he says often, you know, I hate all this, you know, in that opening scene. I hate all this. The idea came from Hal Prince's wife, Judy, to do a play about teenagers. Prince called Sondheim, and Prince said it was the first time that Sondheim ever said yes on the phone. Yeah, so they were clearly, I mean, at this point, I'm sure, I don't want to say arrogance, but a sort of folly, pardon the pun, I know, that they could do anything.
Yeah, they'd almost gone into the woods of creativity.
They had a great passion that had been fulfilled. But the industry is cutthroat, not unlike
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd, A Little Night Music. The no,
and in all, a funny thing happened.
A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. No, but they were a good company at the time, and you know, but it just proves, you know, although anyone can whistle, not everybody can make a successful Broadway production. I, of course, do think they did, but that's beside the point. And Judy, what was that?
Gypsy.
Oh, Gypsy.
Yeah.
What's the one in the Alan Partridge ABBA medley at the end where he just goes, Fernando?
That was really Candide.
Are you opening his productions now?
No.
You didn't pull Candide.
Yes, I did.
You did not, unless you're in a library. The
sorry, shoot me or hire an assassin.
Oh, very good, very good. Anyway, I'm going to bounce back onto the topic at hand.
So we better speed things up, because on Sunday I'm in the park with George.
God alive, I can't do it anymore. I mean, you know, this is.
We're trying to fit West Side Story into it.
We're both trying so hard for Pacific Overtures, and I can hear it. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to burn this first 40 minutes of recording. No, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about this original. I think the term is, of course, disastrous original production. Okay, then let's talk about this original production. So the first reading was on the Evita stage, because, of course, Hal Prince was in the middle of Evita. And it was basically with kids, and the whole purpose of the reading was, will the dialogue work with kids? That was the big difference, really, with this production, and is something that nobody's done again. Nobody has done the whole kids playing the roles thing, unless you're in a college production or a high school production. Do you think that's a missed opportunity?
No, but then again, nowadays on the West End, everyone is kids.
You do hate kids. This has come up before. I mean, also, this production gives you a kid to hate. Good almighty.
Yeah. Wow.
God almighty.
Like a young Jeffrey Dahmer.
He does look like. We went to the christening, and the guy the priest looked like Jeffrey Dahmer, and my sister went, he looks like somebody, and I don't know who. And I said, it's Jeffrey Dahmer. And she went, oh, yes. I also got lost in the program for the bloody christening. And so it got to, will God come, you know, let God inside you, and will you let God inside you? And I put, yes. And everyone else went,
New York City.
New York City. And, you know, unhand me priest. And he was a funny priest as well. And he went, if God does want to contact you, he's probably not going to do it on your mobile phone. So please, put it on silent. The priest didn't talk like that, but it is funnier with him as a Matt Berry voice. So Lonnie Price talked about how having kids, the original idea was that, of course, when you watch the final scene, the hope is that now that these kids have just been put through a 3-hour production and have seen the worst thing that can happen as an adult is that you become successful. Anyway, that these kids won't make those mistakes. I think that's an incredibly hopeful and optimistic approach that would never come true.
Are you on about the actors themselves?
Yeah, the actors themselves were kids.
Yeah, I know, but once they've been through 3 years of acting, they'll realise.
Yeah, once they've been in a production of Merrily We Roll Along, then they'll go, I'll never be an adult like that.
Well, no, because they've already lost their jobs.
Well, yeah, that's the point, isn't it? Yeah. So they originally cast Lonnie Price, who was a gopher on Pacific Overtures, who reportedly asked too many questions of Prince, including what was the break even on Pacific Overtures. That's the sort of kid I'd be. James Weisenbach was signed on for the role of Frank, eventually swapped for Jim Walton. The producers didn't like him, really, and so they bowed down and got Jim Walton instead. All ages between... the show was delayed 9 months following these initial rehearsals, and the cast even made a Merrily newsletter. Speeding through, because there's a lot of stuff here with this original production. Ages 16 to 21, and they all wore sweatshirts instead of costumes with everybody's names on. These included Mrs. Franklin Shepherd, the ex-Mrs. Franklin Shepherd, the next Mrs. Franklin Shepherd, and... yeah, that sort of idea. The production design of the show was also informed by this notion. The set consisted of a group of movable bleachers lined with lockers and a screen on which projections would be shown to set the mood and period. Prince's original idea for the staging was to have no scenery at all and just racks of clothes. And these kids would come in looking like little kids, and they would pretend to be their parents as they see them. So all that was cut because basically at the time,
comes out.
Yeah, at the time they realised you're not going to get people paying a Broadway ticket for this. Hal attempted to move it off Broadway, where arguably it would have had a lot better of a run. That didn't work. It was very nearly filmed as, of course, Pacific Overtures was. They had a good experience with Pacific Overtures. And so they considered that, but that didn't work. And yes, so then they changed from sorry. I've got
Don't apologize
for what? No, here I am. I've got it here. Weisenbach. Oh no, sorry, here we go. Liz Smith in the Sunday Daily News. The walkouts are almost epidemic. Here were about 140 people who left after intermission at a recent performance. Terrible and tacky are the words most often used. James Weisenbach, after the Kennedy number was performed, I had a line, something to the effect of, "We were a little off tonight." And there was always somebody in the audience who would make some sarcastic remark like, "Tonight? What about every night?"
Wow.
Yeah, the relationship with choreographer Ron Field and Prince was fraught. Field choreographed Cabaret, which, of course, Harold Prince directed the initial production of, and he was being less patient with these kids who were not chorus dancers. Ron also had an assistant who was a horror, who then got hepatitis, and we all had to get shots. Ron Field. I'll never forget the look on the face, on his face, as in Harold Prince, when he said, "Ron, we're not in trouble." And I thought that was unconscionable. That was my first experience of nobody telling the emperor. I looked around at the staff and thought, how can you love this man and take his money every week and not want to support him and tell him the truth? I can't believe you don't know what I know. Ron Field was then replaced by Larry Fuller. After a chaotic series of previews, the show opened to widely negative reviews and eventually closed after a run of 16 performances and 52 previews. Will, do you want to hear about one of our heroes?
Yes, please. Hugh Jackman.
No, Tommy Volando, Sondheim, not Tommy Volando, he's not the hero. Sondheim's record
Tony
producer,
Green.
Adele Dazeem, and Thomas Z. Shepherd pleaded with the president of the record division to still record the cast album despite all of that. And Thomas Z. Shepherd, are you ready, Will? When we did Follies in concert, I lamented that Thomas Z. Shepherd was suddenly a nice man. I have a new favourite Thomas Z. Shepherd quote.
Go on.
It was difficult. It was a difficult album to record. It took a very long time. I didn't want the album to sound how the show looked. The album was recorded the day after the show closed. Sondheim has a quote about this. What you hear on that album is the joy of the cast knowing it was going to be made permanent. It was an energetic, youthful cast anyway. Lonnie Price tells
That's
this.
the last thing I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
What you can hear is the joy of the cast. What, the day after they've been told we're shutting you down.
Well, yes, no, because you do. You feel a youthful energy on it. I do think it's a great original cast album, and it does sound of, as you say, it's that thing of it's going to be made permanent. And I have no doubt that if that album was not recorded, we would not be at the stage of Merrily We Roll Along appreciation that we are now. I think we'd be about 10 years behind. I think we'd be maybe just getting a sort of reappraisal.
On the verge of the Renaissance.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Lonnie Price tells this very sad story of Prince always feeling like he let the kids down. 2 nights before closing, he came to his dressing room and said, "I'm sorry I didn't give you a hit. I really wanted to. I think I gave you a good show, but I'm sorry I didn't give you a hit." And well, that's just incredibly sad. And yeah, the original production was a horrific failure. We'll talk about other productions later, but for now, let's talk about the actual show itself. So we watched the Maria Friedman production, which is incredibly well received. It was Jonathan Ross's favorite show of the year. I'm evangelical about this production, and I want to make sure you and as many people can see it in its limited 10-week run.
Yeah, so when I first started watching it, I was like, this looks like some strange amateur production. But then do you know what I mean?
It is one set.
Yeah. But no, it was great. It was fantastic.
It's one set that you, over time, realise is incredibly multi-purpose.
Yes.
But yeah, when you first see it, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I could see an amateur production having that set.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of production values eventually, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Once they get the theatre.
Yeah. Maria Friedman's quote here, she did a wonderful interview, and she just said, she was like, "Oh no," you know, when talking about watching it go backwards, and it's like, "Oh no, it's like those wonderful old horror movies," and it does have that sort of element of don't and all that sort of stuff, and even you can hear it. A gasp. I heard a gasp on the line. You're the girl I think I found the girl I ought to marry, when he's talking to Mary at the very very end, and I heard a gasp, and I thought, oh God, yeah, very sad. So let's talk about this. The original production had slides with over the overture that ended with photos of them from their lives, Charlie winning the Pulitzer Prize and all that sort of stuff. And it ended with, "You are cordially invited to a party at the home of Franklin Shepherd to celebrate the premiere of his latest picture, Darkness Before the Dawn." The overture is incredible.
Yes. And
in the original production, there was this Hills of Tomorrow, which was Frank and Charlie have written a song for their graduation. Of course, the song is another version of Good Thing Going, and starts with the children of the college singing after 20 years of it being famous, and it ends with them first writing it. And then Frank comes on and he says all these sort of empty platitudes, life isn't about doing the best, it's about doing the best you can. And all the kids reacting, "Give us a break." And then at the end of that, Frank says, "Hey kids, listen to us old guys if you can." And it sort of I guess it's a bit dark. It's an element of it. How can I describe it? This will always be the way. All kids don't want to be their parents. They love their parents. Well, no, I'm talking in blanket statements. But this will always be the way of time. People will always make the same mistakes over and over again because you never realize that people are advising you and telling you the truth until it's happened to you. Merrily we roll along. How did you get to be here? This is this recurring thing. How did you get to be where you are today? And you know, sad little Frank on his balcony with a script. And who are the first people that walk on? The women of his life. No, even when he's looking back on life. I mean, maybe it's just because it's a good entrance to have Charlie and Mary come in later. But the first people that come on are Beth and Gussie and Meg and these women in his life who have affected him. What did you think of the song "Merrily We Roll Along"? I think it's actually quite a nice number.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was a good opening. Good opening. My favourite parts. No, I'll save that.
Are you talking about that Frank now?
Yeah, I am. I've quickly moved on.
Yeah, that Frank. Maybe a spoiler. Definitely in my top 3.
Oh yeah. No, it's not a spoiler at all.
It's phenomenal. Lonnie Prince. It's always going to be challenging because Lonnie Price. It's always going to be challenging because a show about writers not being able to fulfill what they want to do is not an emotional problem people can relate to. Yes. And Herman Mankiewicz on the original play, who you never watched Mank, Will, but that's who Mank's about.
Mank sweep.
Hashtag Mank sweep. Oh God, I don't even know what I want my sweep to be this year. I don't even know.
Amsterdam.
No, don't get me started on Amsterdam. Anyway, here's this wealthy playwright who has had repeated success and earned enormous sums of money, has mistresses as well as a family, an expensive townhouse, and a luxurious beach house and a yacht. The problem is, how did the poor son of a bitch get into this jam? Now, that's obviously incredibly reductive. And I think that the actual story is a story we've seen many times of, you know, people who have everything don't actually have anything. Watching the first act again, I was incredibly on Frank's side for a long time. What was your initial reaction to Frank, Will?
I found him very, very charming.
He's very, very good, isn't he? This is Mark Humbers playing Frank.
We watched the 2013 stage.
Yes, and Damien Humbley as Charlie, and Jenna Russell, who over time will become one of our Sondheim women, as we discuss Sunday and Into the Woods and this. But yes, this is where we meet Frank for the first time. I've always enjoyed, you know, not what I know what I'm having, not much fun, which is a great line. But then I've always loved Frank's entrance. Party! I don't know where this change came into effect or if this is just this production, but him coming in with sunglasses and a huge tray of Coke, phenomenal. What an entrance.
Great stuff.
You know, what do you feel about Jenna's voice at this point? Because it is quite literally Roz. Didn't you get it the first time? It is literally. I like that we see their voices change over years.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I also enjoy very drunken Mary in this opening.
Yes, and I also think the pivotal point is that we see a fun drunk Mary, you know, I'm, you know, withering and I'm Joanne from Company and I'm going to say all these jokes. But I think a major excellent stroke with this scene and this performance and this direction from Maria Friedman is that it eventually gets quite sad.
Yeah.
And that those jokes, you know, no pool, trash it. You know, that would be a funny line if an actor delivered it that way. But the way they do it.
What's sad as well is like, when she leaves, that's probably the last time Frank ever sees her.
You think that?
I think that.
I think an element we can talk about, what happens after this party?
I mean, to get the bin bags come out.
Yeah, is this supposed to be the absolute low point of his life? His second wife has thrown iodine in the wife of his hot new mistress. That's from the original play. The iodine party is actually in the original play. Interesting that they kept that. In the original production, they just had to push her into a paper pool. I think this works better.
Yeah.
What have we got here? Yeah, no, the introduction to Meg, played by Zizi Stralin, who you may remember, Will, as young Phyllis from the NT Live Follies we watched.
Oh, yes.
I didn't count the amount of arse slaps, but it's not just Frank. Everybody is slapping everybody's arse in this. And yeah, slap the ass, and everybody is slapping everybody's asses. And in the case of Meg, I mean, lovely changed. Having her do that, read that pool, and then come out in this incredibly sexy bikini and all that sort of thing. It's a bit like the first 10 minutes of Wolf of Wall Street. At that point in Wolf of Wall Street, we don't know in the chronology that his downfall will come within the week of that opening 10 minutes. But it's incredibly attractive. I don't do coke, but everybody's having a great time on it. And, he's got an incredibly sexy woman on his arm, and he's got this incredible house. Everything is very, very, very clearly great on the surface, of course. Do you have a favorite Mary line?
No.
I think you can't beat, what do you do? I drink. No, what do you really do? I really drink. And then, it began when I tasted communion wine. Do you have a favorite character overall, Will? Frank, Mary, Charlie? Joe, the producer? Gussie?
It's not Joe. I wrote down the communion wine one, actually. I do love that. I'd just say Frank, to be honest.
I love Frank. I know. Yeah. I guess I am. I don't know. I guess I appeal. Not appeal to Frank. I empathize with Frank. I mean, I've never had his success, but I know I'd take it. I don't think I'd leave you on the side. Actually, right. Let's talk about this. Well, no, we'll talk about this as it goes along. Merrily. To Franklin Shepherd, the producer, the man who has everything, and fat, drunk, and finished, I'd rather be me any day.
I'd rather be me.
Yeah. And Mary did you hear that Jenna Russell as Mary got an applause when she left?
She?
Yeah, I heard an applause break. So yeah, that Frank, just absolutely at Rory's, just wonderful. I've got a couple of lyrics in my top 5 lyrics, which we'll talk about later. Anything left to say, Will, about that, Frank?
No. Well, let's have a reprise, please. That's what it's saying. That Frank. This Frank. No,
well, we kind of do with Frank. The Blob.
I'm this Frank. It's the redemption song.
Well, the redemption song. We kind of do with the Blob. It's the same tune, except I don't like the Blob. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
The first transition. I just love the idea, the idea of Merrily We Roll Along as a lyric, because rolling down a hill, you're just picking up pace and everything gets faster and faster. I'm gonna make you very happy, Will. It's a bit like Click, where suddenly, things start getting faster and faster and you can't control it.
Yes.
Yeah. So originally these were all pop cultural lyrics. Good change. Here are a few. New streams are flowing, just don't eat the fish. Have a baby now if you wish. They can start one right in a dish. Garbage is growing, some of it is glowing. Some of it is falling into the sea. Turn up the Bee Gees on the CB. Hot tubs, sex clubs, and deep rubs and overdubs. Oil spills and oil bills and no frills and Wilbur Mills. Wilbur Mills is just a 70s politician. Disco is dead and won't disappear. Who are these Arabs and why are they here? So I think that was a good choice.
Keep the Bee Gees, though.
The Bee Gees, yeah, sure. We now get our transition. And wonderful stroke with this production is that they use the actual Frank Sinatra version of Good Thing Going. And it adds a nice bit of reality and all that sort of stuff.
Blue wash as well.
Say again?
Nice blue wash.
Nice blue wash. Nice joke with the presenter. You know, we're in the most violent year we've ever had in Vietnam. Mary. And then we get Like It Was, which is never a song that has worked for me really on any cast recording, apart from Jenna Russell's performance here.
Interesting.
Why did you not like it?
It's not in my top 5.
No. And on my current ranking, it's 10 of 13.
There you go.
But I do like it. The Old Friends reverse reprise. So Sondheim talks about this a lot, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, when he was interviewed, he loves to mention it. And people like to talk about how it's full of sort of reverse reprises. Yes. In that Old Friends, obviously, we get later, but if this was normally structured, then that would be a reprise. And it's the same with Franklin Shepherd Inc. You know, that should be the Ladies Who Lunch 11 o'clock number, but it's in reverse, so it's suddenly our third song. Overall, I think that works for you, Will. I mean, it works for me. It's a clear design, of course.
Yeah.
I think Jenna's great, and I think it's a lovely sad song. But I do think it is a bit of maybe a throwaway. Ever since I married Gussie, my life's just been meetings. Cameraman giving the Darkness Before the Dawn script doesn't work for me, because that's, of course, the film that they're doing with Meg Kincaid. Yeah. So that is actually a success story. Doesn't really ring true to me. I don't know. Let's talk about these titles. Sweet Sorrow, Musical Husbands, Take a Left.
Yeah, they're all bad.
Bad names. We get into this TV interview, which has already been... This is kind of the only time... we have a little bit when he goes, thank you for helping me out with the divorce. But it's the sort of only time of foreshadowing, really. Yes. Reverse foreshadowing. Because we have in the first series, the first scene, didn't you hear about that famous TV interview? Yeah. And we don't really get that again of, didn't you hear about that? They saw us that night in the Italian restaurant when we sang our song.
Remember our graduation?
Yeah. Remember when we were in your apartment and we sang that song, but then you didn't come because Gussie was there? There isn't that sort of thing.
Hey, remember that time you had iodine in your eyes?
What? Yes. That hasn't happened yet, but it will. We find out that Mary's a tarot card reader. It becomes a psychic drama. Let's talk about Franklin Shepherd Inc. Now, it is in my top 5. Yes. Is it in yours?
It is, but it's 5.
I have it at 5 as well, Will.
Oh, it was good, but something was missing.
I know. You know what it is? I don't think something's missing. I think it's too much. I hate all the and all that stuff. I know it's on purpose, and I'm fine when I'm watching it, but to listen to, it drives me mad. Mudda, quit Jerome, president. And I'm sure it's great to perform and all that sort of, Lonnie Price. I was going crazy because I didn't have my big song until 3 days before previews. So for 5 weeks of rehearsals, they would say stuff like, now Lonnie would sing his song, but we're going to move on. Sondheim, I have a penchant for writing nervous breakdowns. Rosa's Turn, Getting Married Today, Epiphany, and now Franklin Shepherd Inc. I think the big thing it has going against it, of course, is that that's probably how I'd rank them. Rosa's Turn, Getting Married Today, Epiphany, and then Franklin Shepherd Inc. with, of course, maybe a switch of Epiphany and Getting Married Today.
Yes.
It's the worst of possibly our favourite sort of Sondheim song.
Yes.
Again, worst is strong. It's still very good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. In the original play, Charlie is a painter and has made a painting of Frank hugging a cash register. And that's what sort of, instead of this...
crashes, sort of.
I'm keeping that painting. It was for me. It was a gift. Do you have a favourite sort of moment in this song?
I don't know.
How do you feel about all the buzzing and the roaring?
That for me was all right. It was yeah. I liked how it was staged. I like the idea of the song. It was just a bit. I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, this is what someone does. This is what a 25-year-old drama student does at a review show.
Oh yeah.
And that's all I could think.
Yeah. I can see that. I like I like money a lot. I mean, it's better than not. I love. Did that fart get picked up?
No.
Again, once again, I've shown myself up. Frank does the money thing very well, but you know what? People do it better. But Frank does the music thing very well, and you know what? No one does it better. I think it's something to say that he still has this ultimate confidence in his friend, and that he still thinks he's the greatest composer in the world. You know what part I don't like? Especially on the 1994 recording, which has this awful sort of cat sound under it, like nothing permanent has happened, which is the heart of the song.
Yeah.
But has this awful weird piano trill underneath.
Oh no, I liked the speaking of the piano, I like the bits where he played the invisible piano.
Yeah, yes. It's a lot, but I prefer that to
yeah.
It's not as bad as, you know what this is? It's a better version of, do you remember Simple from Anyone Can Whistle Well? Hat
No.
good. What song? What do they sing in that? I don't know, but they say something like "hat cry" or anyway. I find that very annoying.
I don't know. Is that the one where they're in bed?
No, that's the end of Act 1, the big 10-minute one. Anyway, that it didn't make it into the canon, so it doesn't matter. Frank, that was a real slaughter. I want to say, is Frank actually that bad? What has he done? What did he ever do? All people are just angry that he's changed.
Yeah.
Because he used to be this lovely, everything is so flustering. And now he's a successful man. He's
become confident in himself. He's found his self-esteem.
And, I completely agree with Frank. Never talk to me again. That was terrible. Imagine doing that on live television. Yeah, no, I completely agree with Frank. Second transition, originally 1962, someone at the Watergate, bump, is discovered working late. 1969, boom, if it isn't Vietnam, it's Chappaquiddick, boom, splash. It's Charlie Manson, boom, thud. Altamont, boom, bang. Again, good choice.
Yeah.
This is where we meet little Frankie Jr., Jesus Christ. I don't want to bully children, but this might be one of the worst performances I've ever seen. It was atrocious.
It was your classic. They did everything because they were told to do so.
Yes. And he has a terrible American accent. There is a reason why the child in Miss Saigon doesn't speak and just has to be hugged by his mother. Charlie and Frank arguing over the movie rights. Charlie's a dick. Just get some goddamn money. Just get some money. I can't explain it. I'm just on Frank's side. I know this isn't the opinion that you should have, but I do. Which does lead, however, into Old Friends, which I also have in my top 5. Do you?
Which one?
Well, this is the thing: is that Old Friends 2, this one, the long one.
Because yes, yeah, Old Friends 2 I have in my top 5. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The full length one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have it at 4.
Hello.
I said I have it at 4.
Yeah, but oh, sorry, I thought you cut off. You have it at 4. I also have it at 4.
Well, this is wonderful.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah, beautiful song. Even though Jenna sometimes struggles on some of the high notes. I like that Charlie takes his time to, as much as I hate Charlie, no, I like that he takes his time to come around to the idea that it's not just, who's like us, damn few, and then he's immediately, and it's like, let's do a number. And even halfway through the number, they argue, and then we have Gussie and Joe coming by, and Gussie and Frank talking. Joe comes over to just tell a few home truths. Frank must be the only person in the world who doesn't know you're in love with him. And again, Joe's confession, they just got to get it out of their system. I know what's happening. Just as long as she doesn't leave me. Which again does feel a little bit.
It felt this whole scene felt very much. Good morning, good morning.
Oh right, yeah, playful.
Yeah,
felt good.
Yeah,
but then again, Charlie's a dick. He doesn't say you shouldn't be with Gussie because of all these things. He says, get rid of Gussie, get rid of this pathetic life. And we're supposed to go like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Frank's sold out.
Do you think that's where the reverse chronology concept sort of that's its downfall? Because there's things, or then it's better because then there's a payoff. Or
no, I like the reverse chronology. I think it comes down to the thing of people talk about how depressing it would be if it was the other way around, but this is 10 times more depressing. Maybe it's because I can think about things. Oh, that sounds patronizing, but maybe it's because I'm thinking whilst I'm watching, so I'm not just sucked in by the optimism of our time and everybody being happy with Bobby and Jackie and Jack. The whole time I'm thinking, what this is going to be dead. It's like any sort of flashback, except it's nothing but, and it's this wonderful, horrid decline, and it's painful, and it's wonderful, and it's great. Then we have Growing Up, which is a song I have very low ranked.
Yes.
This was added in 1984 at the request of James Lapine when he was directing it. He felt that you needed something to emphasize, to empathize with Frank. Again, it's a fine song.
No, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, not at all.
No.
I don't like Charlie as a screamer. You know what it feels like? If I said to you, which I should have actually done this with you, but I don't know how much you researched, but if I said what song was added in 1984?
Was it this?
It feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe like it was. I would maybe guess like it was, because I think somebody would have gone, oh, Mary doesn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Because that feels that way as well. No, not a song I favour. And then we're nearly at the end of Act 1. Gussie, the Not a Day Goes By reprise. Now, when we put Not a Day Goes By into the song canon, which we will be doing, we will be putting in the Bernadette Peters live version, which is a sort of 3-minute solo version, rather than the part 1 or the part 2. Is it in your overall ranking?
It's my number 2.
Okay, good. It's my number 1. Maria Friedman agrees with me, Will, so I'm sorry you're out. Um, she thinks it's just one of the best, most beautiful songs ever written, and I'd have to agree. I think in the overall rankings, it will be, obviously lower than Losing My Mind and Sending the Clowns, but it's beautiful and it's terrific and it's great. I think it's very haunting. I don't know about Beth's performance here though. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. But when you first heard this song, what did you think?
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's just a beautiful song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the nice reporter lady, I'll kill those photos, but you owe me one. Here's the big question. What's worse? Having an interview that ruins your life with Charlie? Because there is I could sense that if there was no interview, then he would continue friendly with Charlie because Charlie would have never ruined the friendship with that interview so publicly. I think the thing for Frank is that it's so public. If they had that argument in private, they could come back from it.
Yeah.
Or a candid private photo of him saying goodbye to his kid on the steps of the courtroom.
I'm doing Anna Kendrick.
That's how do you feel? What's worse? Obviously, just laying those pictures out, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure there.
Yeah, for disaster. And then we get Now You Know, which is a wonderful end of Act 1, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, so let's talk about Now You Know. So this is the ending of Act 1. And in this sort of bizarre world we end up in, going backwards, it ends up being a perfect end of Act 1 number. Yes. But of course, it's an empty promise because we don't see what happens next. It is a perfect end of Act 1 number by virtue of it being in the middle of the story. I like it a lot, I have to say.
Or is it an opening to an Act 2 number? Would it work the same way?
I like it as the end of Act 1. And then in the same way, It's a Hit works very well as an opening of Act 2 number, even though again, it's one of those things where the timeline works perfectly in their favor.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, you could say It's a Hit is the perfect end of Act 1 number, and then end of Act 1 number, and Now You Know could be a good opening of Act 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot to put in Now You Know. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna stick with my gut. Ooh.
Oh.
This one might be more than a fiver. We'll see. Where are we? Yeah. How do you feel about Mary getting just like a whole random solo halfway through? It sort of feels like it's going to be an ensemble number, and then Mary takes the lead. Is that just a perfect representation of her, what she is as a friend to Frank, or what?
Oh, I had not thought of that.
Or, dare I say it, is this her taking her opportunity?
Oh, no, yeah, I think so.
Could be.
But the way I saw it was this was like her proving herself for the future. This is me now shooting my shot. Yeah,
but she obviously knows about Gussie.
Yeah,
and the Gussie situation, as does everybody apparently. But shoot your shot. I agree with that. I mean, what's the final line of the first act? I love you, Frank. Who's screaming out of the plane? I love the slow convincing of Frank mirrors the slow convincing of old friends of Charlie. It takes a while for Frank to come around, and obviously it's going to. He's just been divorced. I mean, Jesus Christ. And then he finally comes around. Then we'll do a show. No, we'll do a whole bunch. Maybe one that's all about divorces. I mean, a divorce code. What a fascinating set. And that sort of dark humor that you have with friends. I don't know, a dog's died or whatever, and you can make a joke about.
Yeah.
I can't think of an example, but you know,
every dog has its day. And today was it.
Yeah. Great line. I mean, big surprise. People love you and tell you lies. Bricks can tumble from clear blue skies. Great line. Anyway, moving on. We don't. What do we do in the middle of our song? Do we do top 5 lyrics here?
In the middle, we can do, but I might as well just go to the end and then sum it up with our lyrics and
yeah, I think so. Let's do that. Let's continue. It's been a while since we've done these, bro. So the entr'acte, and then Gussie's opening number. So she's now Gussie Carnegie, which is the most wonderful Broadway dame name I may have ever heard. What the hell is this show supposed to be? The background, you've got the Moulin Rouge. She's dressed like Velma in Chicago. There's a French flag. It's called Musical Husbands.
Yeah.
It's basically a Does Your Mother Know number, but baby, you're a baby. You know, she's flirting with this young Parisienne.
And he's dressed like Ricky Martin's Shay.
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal for what it is. I like it a lot. It's not in my top 5. But I think it is that sort of thing. I remember on the audio commentary for Postcards from the Edge, Carrie Fisher talking about how much she enjoyed coming up with bad movie titles. And I think Sondheim is having a lot of fun here, you know, bad show. You know, the moon is just cheese. I don't think Sondheim would ever write that lyric intentionally. Yeah, Gussie's opening number, it's very nice. And then
la 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 la
la la, there was a boy. Then we get you know, Joe, producer Joe. Do you have something against producer Joe? Well,
no, I don't.
Him coming out, you know, they're just a bunch of mushuganers, you know. The most New York person you've ever met. At this stage, Beth is just delightful and just lovable and wonderful. It is the whole, you know, Wolf of Wall Street, whatever, Goodfellas thing of the first wife being the most wonderful person you've ever, you know, known and all that sort of thing. I mean, obviously, with Goodfellas, it's a different situation.
Mad Men? Is it the same in Mad Men?
No, Betty is not the most wonderful woman. Despite my ex idolizing her completely. I'm rewatching Mad Men with my mum currently. She's on series 6. It's just the best show ever made. And then we get It's a Hit. And the recorded laughter never works. Not on the tape recorder, that's fine. But you know, listen to that. It just never works. And I don't know why they don't have Charlie already in the auditorium recording the applause and then doing, you know, listen to that, press the recorder, instead of producer Joe awkwardly opening and shutting that door. No more sneaking in an admission to the plays you wish you could afford. Oh, that was wrong. No more sneaking in an admission to plays you wish you could afford. I can't remember how that goes. Or producers having you audition whenever they're bored. That feels like a line for Beth instead of Mary. Beth's the actress.
Yeah.
Or is the joke there? I think that the joke is there, obviously a harassment joke, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, but why would Mary say that? I know she's witty or whatever. The old Friends reprise here for me is rapturous. I think it's wonderful.
Yes.
You know, you could have fooled me as we're still old friends. And it's just wonderful. And it is the high. It is the absolute high of the story.
Yeah.
Do you like It's a Hit, Will?
Yes, but it's not my top 5.
No, me neither. Mary with Gussie. Oh, sorry, Mary. Again, Mary knows everything. And yet she's this psychic Mary. And yet she still lets Beth make these decisions. You know, with Gussie there, I'd urge you to stay with Frank. Why would you say that? I mean, she's true. She's a psychic, but I don't know.
She's drinking. She's drinking a lot by this stage.
Yes, she is. I mean, is she drinking from the off?
No. At what point do you think she starts drinking? I think that's one of Will's big questions.
Will's big questions. I mean, you could be very bleak and just say after the marriage to Beth.
Yeah.
And then after the marriage to Gussie, then that's like, as you say, that is like he's definitely never gonna love me, never gonna marry me, and then it goes downhill, downhill, downhill.
Just a bit impatient, really, isn't she?
Yeah. Fourth transition. Here's some other great rejected lyrics. Cuba has missiles, Washington bristles. There go the good cigars. Enter the British waving guitars. What was that? A grassy knoll. Hold it steady. We're losing control. I find it bizarre that even though Sondheim is one of our greatest performers of all time, the Billy Joel managed to write a better lyric in JFK blown away. What else do I have to say? What's your favorite lyric in We Didn't Start the Fire?
Oh,
as a kid, I didn't know that Bernie Getz was a bad man, so I always felt bad when it was AIDS crack Bernie Getz. Malcolm X.
I like Little Rock.
Little Rock, Pasternak, Mickey Mantle, Kerouac.
That's it. Children of the Little Mind. I think that's my favorite.
Buddy Holly, Ben Hurst, Kate, Rocky Maria, Hula Hoops, Castro. Anyway, we don't need to do all of We Didn't Start the Fire. Although we could. When are we doing a Billy Joel podcast?
Rock and roll like Golo was.
Liberace. Oh, it's great.
We can rewrite it for the modern era.
When did he do that?
No, we could.
Oh, we could. No, that's not my era. I want to rewrite it with other lyrics from the 70s. Then we get the Blob. And I've put here, Jesus Christ. Again, it's intentionally supposed to be annoying, but it's one of those things where I don't enjoy it. Like, again, Opening Doors is definitely one of my top 5 songs, but there is the bad auditions in that make me go,
Opening Doors, really? Opening Doors was a bit annoying for me.
Oh, really? Oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Meet the Blob. Well, anyway, we'll stick with the Blob for now. Meet the Blob. This is the Blob. Don't enjoy it. People smoking weed and he's scared of that, whereas in 10 years he's going to be blowing huge rails of coke. ZZ Stralin in her 60s stuff. I just wanted to say that. It's my favorite actress, and the mayor's over there. Those get the same reaction from Beth. Mayor. And did that fart pick up?
Yeah. Also, the first one did as well. I was just being.
Oh, you're just being facetious. This is wonderful news. You know what these are these beautiful memoriam podcasts to an icon of the, one of our legends, and I farted. Are you gonna surprise me and say that the Blob is in your top songs?
No, but would you expect? No, I often come up with I have to shock you on these podcasts, but I think we can both agree that
he's the worst.
Nowhere near the top.
I have no idea what our Into the Woods rankings are going to be.
No, because I think Woods is going to be very difficult to rank as well.
Yeah, 25 songs.
I'll blow my load early, and I'll say I Know Things Now. I'm not a fan of.
I think it's a great song, but it's not going to be in my top 10. Yeah.
No. There we go. Okay, right, that's good. That's good.
But the finale of I Know Things Now. Don't put your faith in a cape and a hood. They will not protect you the way that they should. Might be one of my favorite moments in the whole show. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for things continuing. Like, everything's coming up, sunshine and Santa Claus. Everything's coming. This we can move on from that. I think I think Mark Umbers has the best transformative performance. I think he's genuinely exceptional as a 23-year-old.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it was excellent. I think Damien Chumbly, is that his name?
Yes.
Damien Humbly.
Chumbawamba.
Up 5, Wingfield with Saturday Night. Bit repetitive. No, Damien Humbly. I think I think that's the character of Charlie, but he doesn't change really at all.
No, Charlie was always an old man trapped inside a young man's body.
And of course, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like you could say, like, but if we look at me 20 years from now, I dread to think. Anyway, if I get there. Where are we? Then Good Thing Going. Them diegetically singing Good Thing Going, I think is lovely. Do you not?
Sorry. There's a lot of pauses. It's because I think you're about to say something else, but no, I don't know. No, it's lovely. It's fine. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and then I love. You know what I love more?
What
is the horribly awkward? They're gonna play it again. They're gonna play it again. They're gonna do it again, and then everyone's like, "Yay!" And then it slowly deteriorates, and Joe makes jokes, and everybody's moving the champagne bottles, and never do things again. Never do things again. I don't know how. I'm trying to think of an example. Reading poems. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Help me out.
Help! I need somebody.
What about like singing songs at parties and do it again, do it again. Yeah. And then the second time you're like, oh, why did we ask for this again? Doing a magic trick. Oh yes, that's an incredible one, Will.
Thank you.
Yeah, doing a magic trick. And then the whole time, the second time is shit because everybody's trying to catch you out. Yeah. Magic tricks are great.
Thank you.
Okay, before we take our next break, let's talk about Bobby and Jackie and Jack. Okay, Will, where is it for you?
So I didn't rank everything as a whole, but it's not my top 5.
Okay, it's my number 6.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Oh, is this you now saying we want 6?
We will see, but I would be happy with. I love Bobby. Well, of all songs, I loved Bobby and Jackie and Jack.
Yeah.
What are things I love?
Children.
I do. I do love children. I also love the Kennedys. So originally it was a song called Thank You for Coming, which was, again, the end of their show, but it was another song set to the tune of Good Thing Going. It was another song. And it was a good choice. And Sondheim felt it was more important at this stage to show that Frank and Charlie are good songwriters.
Yes.
Rather than the final, thank you for coming, thank you. The case of props. I think Beth's Jackie wig and impression's pretty lame, actually. It should be, I'm painting it beige for a start. Thank you. I don't want to bully. Yeah. But no, it's just a really funny song, delightful, shows their youthful optimism, is actually funny, is actually good. And you can believe that that's the sort of thing where somebody would watch that and go, oh, actually, no, I can, I don't think this is going to go anywhere, but these people have talent to write what I want.
Yes. It justifies the rest of the show, or the show that you've just seen.
Yes, I think if Good Thing Going, I mean, there is everybody is like, getting very excited over Good Thing Going. But it highlights that, though they are great. Whereas the Gussie's opening number does feel almost parody-esque.
Yeah.
and would be something like in your curtain, your curtains, of what an outrageous, huge Broadway musical would be. And then this wonderful wedding scene. Oh my God!
We love to thing.
Very, very touching. And Beth's, I'm not pregnant. And, before my reason was the baby, now it's you. And then, I am pregnant. I just wanted to be sure. It's just so human and likable and delightful. And I think it's very, very sweet and very, very nice. And who my second nomination is for the best performance? It's probably Gussie. I think her character has, again, a bigger arc than Charlie or even Mary.
Yeah.
It has a bit of a cringy 60s joke here, an answering machine that nobody's going to buy that. I'm going to look at this smell-o-vision movie process. That's the sort of stuff that I never find funny, unless it's in Back to the Future. But Back to the Future doesn't actually have that much of that. I don't know. What is the secret formula of Back to the Future that makes jokes that I find intolerable good?
I think it's a mix of everything. I don't know.
I don't know. And then it says Beth's parents, well, at least is not black. And then the black priest. Now, I have no definitive information on that. But to me, I've seen pictures of the original cast. They were all white. So, that must be a joke that people have put in over time. Yes. Of this is a weird line. Perfect for the 60s, but let's make this a joke as well.
Yeah. No, I like that.
It was good. It was good, and that actor's great. And then, last thing to talk about. Not a Day Goes By. Now sung as Vows, and with Mary joining in, it is indeed enough to break your heart. Beautiful, powerful, very sad. As I say, when we put this in the ranking, I'll say this now, this is actually my top ranked song.
I got that. It's my number 2. It's my number 2.
Number 2 to that, Frank?
Yeah, number 2 to that, Frank.
Okay, I'll give you that. Oh, well, no. I also want to know what we're doing with Opening Doors.
Because
Opening Doors has to be in there, Will.
Okay.
You say what your 5 are now before we leave for our break.
So I've got Merrily We Roll Along in there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we can
my 10. My top 10 are 10 Our Time, 9 Merrily We Roll Along, 8 It's a Hit, 7 Now You Know, 6 Bobby and Jackie and Jack, 5 Franklin Shepherd Inc., 4 Old Friends, 3 Opening Doors, 2 That Frank, 1 Not a Day Goes By. We'll get to this conversation later, as we will with it's the first thing we'll talk about when we come back. So we will be back in just a moment. Okay, and we're back. So we were just about to talk about Opening Doors, which baby, let's talk about you and me. What's your favorite sex song, Will? Your nominations are Sex Bomb by Tom Jones, Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye, Nobody Does It Better by Carly Simon, and that.
Sex Bomb.
Sex Bomb's good. And I can give it to you anytime because you're mine. Up 5, Slow Hands by the Pointer Sisters.
Oh.
What's the name of the Barry White song that was the rock DJ?
My first, my last, my everything.
No. There's a rock. That's it. Your body is it's ecstasy when you lay down next to me.
Yes. There's a great Tom Jones skit somewhere, isn't there? Where it's like this someone comes on the voice and he goes, "Oh yes, it reminds me of her." And then when he suddenly breaks out, and then he just stands up and he'll do a song.
I've talked about many times how much I hate sing us a song, and then Anna Marie joining in, and she's like, "Spy me, baby, you sexy light, in for
he
to
just
see
goes
me
for it.
move through the night. In go fire, shoot me right. I'm gonna like the way you fight." This is a great song. Now you found the secret code I use to wash away my lonely blues. I'm your main target, come and help me ignite. Love struck, holding you tight. Make me explode, although you know the route to go to set me slow. And yes, I must react to claims of those who say that you are not all that. What a great, great song. Oh, what a bridge. You can give me more and more, I'm counting up the score. You can turn me upside down and inside out. You can make me feel the real deal, and I can give it to you anytime because you're mine. Sex Bomb. What a great song. Tom Jones there with Sex Bomb. Up 5. Right. Opening doors. We talked about this a lot on our 6 by Sondheim episode, because this was one of the 6 by Sondheim.
It was the one about him.
It was Jeremy Jordan, who you opened this by saying that you preferred the last 5 years. Wasn't Jeremy Jordan in the film of the last 5 years?
Yes. It also stars the guy from Glee.
Matthew Morrison.
Yeah. No, I'm on about the 6 by Sondheim.
Yes, Blaine, Darren Criss. Darren Criss, yes. Yes, it was good. It was good. And of course, Sondheim played producer Joe. Again, do you have any favorite sort of stuff? I saw My Fair Lady. I sort of enjoyed it. I used that to open my Tick Tick Boom review, I think. Seth Rudetsky has a wonderful breakdown of this. Talking about the tuba, he said, "I already saw Patty do Sweeney on Broadway, so I don't need any more tubas playing Sondheim." Which I'd have to agree with. They're always popping. I'll fix that line. What turns you off about this song?
No, I think I was just in an irritable mood while watching it. I do apologize.
You know what? People need to admit this more. People need to be okay saying, "Yeah, I didn't like Merrily We Roll Along. I was depressed and watching it in a I don't know, on a bus." But this is a terrible example. But like, people need to say this more often about, "Yeah, I didn't rate it. No, I didn't watch it in the cinema. I watched it on my shitty computer at home." I'm not a fan of the staging of Gussie pushing Joe on and pushing him back off in his chair. But I guess it works with the whole Gussie being the secretary to start. Obviously, the best part of this is producer Joe, just write a plain old melody. I like all of the producer Joe stuff, actually. What's wrong with them letting tap their toes a bit? I'll let you know when Stravinsky has a hit. I like all that. Especially, play a little more, I'll show you what I mean. Sorry, I want to live in New York. And then he immediately cuts them off again. Play a little more. Nah. Do you have any favourite parts of this, Will, or is it, or does it just annoy you?
No, no. Well, ignore that I said it annoys me. I mean, it did at the time. I think no.
It's just very. I know it's the perfect song for that moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed the chairography. I can say that.
Yes.
Yeah,
and there was no chair duets, which is always a good thing.
No frantic assembly to be seen.
It's the perfect. You know what it is? It's showing perfectly how exciting and fun it can be to sometimes be on your ass, but still believing in yourself and believing in your dream. You know, there is something, you know, fun about a load of struggling actors. I think it's very, but I actually think this does the best for me of not romanticizing it in any way.
No.
I think at times Tick Tick Boom got a little bit too, oh, we're all struggling. I mean, especially that goddamn, this is the life of la la la. We're gonna top a load of shit.
Yeah, I did not enjoy Tick Tick Boom. Everyone loves it.
I thought you did like Tick Tick Boom. Or is this one of those things where you said that you liked it and you hadn't actually seen it?
No, I enjoyed Andrew Garfield's singing. I thought it was exceptional.
Yeah, no, I like it singing. They're singing Happy Birthday. But you know what? It's not as good as, Will? Raul Esperanza's recording.
They're singing. I bet it's insane.
They're singing. That's that. Oh, where are we next? ZZ Stralin coming on. And instead of doing the sort of annoying high-pitched thing, she does, I mean, she still does that, but she sort of does a, oh, I'm a Broadway star. I like ZZ Stralin a lot. I think I've made that abundantly clear. Currently on the West End, Will, in Mary Poppins.
Oh.
And by currently, I mean on now, will not be when this ends.
What's going? Oh, no, it's Newsies. I bet Newsies is going there.
Yeah, Newsies. I think you're actually spot on.
Yeah.
Or is Newsies going into Drury Lane instead of Frozen?
No, I'm sure there's an unwritten Disney rule about the amount of shows they can have on.
I don't think that's true. They would own everything if they could.
Theory is? I've got a theory. So Anne's Juliet is closing.
And Juliet.
Yeah. It's closing because it wasn't the big smash hit that they thought it was going to be.
That's untrue. It was a huge hit. It's run for years.
Okay. I've never seen it. I never intended to. They did it on Strictly, and I was like, wow.
Don't. This is, it's awful.
Yeah. But I think I know exactly what's moving into Shaftesbury.
Oh, go on.
I think Mrs. Doubtfire is moving to the West End.
Oh, yes, because it's done okay in Manchester.
Yeah. I think it's going to do 6 months in Shaftesbury.
But that shut so early on Broadway.
Yeah, but so the same happened with Cinderella.
They're going to bring it in, but they're going to change it and call it Bad Mrs. Doubtfire. Call me Bad Mrs. Doubtfire. Actually, it weirdly fits.
Call me, yeah, it does actually.
Call me Bad Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, Billie Eilish has a bad guy. But I have a bad Cinderella.
When I sent you that TikTok, I knew it would become your favorite TikTok of all time.
What an incredible moment. Welcome, Billie Eilish, to TikTok. It's a great moment. What else are we talking about? Glimpses of the love with Beth from, like, it really is love at first sight. She's a great girl, clearly. And, you know, I'll bring you the score later this evening. Do you think from that point he's hitting on her?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just delightful. And then we get the seventh transition, where we get the joys of Frankie Jr. singing.
Yeah.
Merrily we roll along.
Please, gentle labor.
Have you seen that they're making Gavroche the musical?
No, they're not, are they?
They are. Not. This is real. At the time of recording.
Is it an actual, or is it a TikTok thing?
No, at the time of... No, this isn't like Ratatouille, the musical. At the time of recording, which is the 19th of October, next week is a workshop for a Gavroche the musical in New York.
There's a running joke that, because we always like to play games within our musical theatre society, well, not within a society, but with a few mates, like, oh, if we did this show with the society, who would you cast us to? That sort of stuff. That's the time.
Yeah.
And whenever it's Les Mis, we always cast Jess as Gavroche. We cast her as in Oliver. Who do you think we cast her as?
Oh, this is a good game. Jess is Will's wonderful girlfriend, by the way. For our listeners, I don't know if we introduced her. I know we introduced my girlfriend on the company episodes, and now she's left me.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah. Incredible stuff. I'm recording a bonus company episode of Rian, and over the space of 2 episodes, back to back, it'll be like company, me being hopeful about company, and then, yeah, but actually it's just a story about a miserable man who can't get ahead in life and everybody leaves him. I don't think I introduced her. I just said I have a girlfriend. Yeah. Subtle brag. But I don't know. Jess is this wonderful woman, very, very nice, very, very... she's short, isn't she? And she's lovely, and like I don't think I've ever seen her not smile. And she has this like wonderfully sort of slightly high-pitched voice that just always sounds happy. So I don't know who would cast her in as Oliver. Mrs. Bumble?
No, the Artful Dodger.
I shall scream, scream, scream. Will, when we do our cabaret night...
What, we're doing I Shall Scream?
We can do I Shall Scream.
I'll be Bumble. Yes.
Will, what is the one male-female duet that we would do where you'd be the female?
This is a great question. I'm going to look up some male-female
I'm going to say, because it's not I'd Be Surprisingly Good For You, but maybe Waltz with Ava and Shay?
Yeah.
We do I'd Be Surprisingly Good For You where I'm Ava, and then we do Waltz with Ava and Shay where you're...
I would be Shay. I'm Shay.
No, you're not Shay. Please go on, you enthrall me. She's the one who kept you where you are. All I ask of you is interchangeable.
Yeah. Oh, no, because if we did Bop to the Top, which, spoiler, I'll be doing it sessions tomorrow night.
Will I get a video?
Yeah. So obviously you would have an invite.
Will once did New York, New York, and didn't know the words and held it on his phone. And this is New York, New York, one of the most famous songs ever.
If you're from America.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm singing...
No, not if you're from America. Cut that shit. Everybody knows New York, New York.
Okay.
Go on. Tell me about Bop to the Top.
Well, I'm singing Bop to the Top tomorrow, but I will be playing Sharpay.
Who are you bopping to the topping with? Harry again?
No, we're doing the production team of the current show always does a song. So it'll be me, so there's 2 boys and 2 girls, so we're just going to alternate. But the overall theme for tomorrow night is miscast.
Oh, okay. So, I'm excited. Who's doing Sondheim?
I don't know. I've not got access because they kicked me out of committee. They didn't kick me out. They didn't revert me in.
This is great. I love small town bureaucracy. To
be honest, I was in the same role for 3 years in a row at that time.
Yeah, and Liz Truss was in for 3 weeks. Whoa, political, right? Will,
wow,
bet me a tenner
when this episode goes.
Yeah, bet me a tenner. Is Liz Truss gonna be in the prime ministerial role when this episode comes out on the 13th of April?
Well, at the minute, Jeremy Hunt is the prime minister.
Jeremy Hunt's not the prime minister.
Bring back Rishi. That's not me saying that.
You know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Bring back Thatcher.
Dig her up.
Dig her up.
On her.
Yeah. Anyway, as much as your small town bureaucracy is fun.
No, but the male-female duet where I would be the girl and you would be the boy would definitely be Hello Little Girl from Into the Woods.
So I have to be a pervert.
You're the paedophile.
No, Will. I'm paedophile.
No, I'm paedophile.
This is wonderful.
When you laugh, I can see your skull.
Your skull. Have you got any absinthe? no absinthe. Carlsberg. Oh, Carlsberg, perfect. I ate an eel on stage once, but it was on stage, so it doesn't really count. Oh, go on then. Anyway,
White Russian.
yeah. The seventh Merrily transition.
Yes.
Zizi Strallen is in a lot of these transitions. I think they realise that she's an excellent singer. I mean, obviously, she will go on to play Mary Poppins, and she is from a famous dancer family, by all accounts. And her aunt is Bonnie Langford.
Oh, Bonnie Langford of 9 to 5 fame.
Yes, of 9 to 5 and fame.
Heart to heart.
But the kid is awful. Rolling along.
Absolutely.
And then we finally get to the rooftop scene, looking for Sputnik.
Another tangent, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
Very quickly, but when you bring up your child to do musical theatre, which you will be doing.
My child Xanadu, yes.
Imagine if they're just shit and they can't sing and can't dance and can't act.
Because I'm going to go...
Are you still going to be a pushy dad, or are you going to accept defeat?
I will accept whatever my child wants to do. I am in my father's office right now, surrounded by cricket memorabilia, and he let me do this acting shit.
And in the bottom drawer, there's a whole thing, the Thomas Carruthers cricket captain.
Yeah,
and the frame is smashed.
But he let me do what I wanted to do, so I will let my child do whatever they want to do. I've always said I do want a little girl so that we can do Annie together, and maybe that's sad. I don't know. I do love Annie. Do you love Annie, Will?
I do.
Annie's great. Oh, you were in Annie. Will was in a production of Annie that I saw.
Yeah, before you liked it.
We get to the rooftop scene, Will. Will, are you too cold-hearted, a cynic, and a horror? Did the rooftop scene touch you, or was it a bit too saccharine?
It was
a bit too saccharine for you.
Yeah. You know what I didn't like?
Go ahead.
Hills of Tomorrow.
Oh, from the original Broadway.
Yeah, from the. I thought it was
from the original Broadway cast, or what? Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah,
what about
original.
Our Time in the Maria Friedman?
Our Time was a better closing than Hills of Tomorrow.
Yes, I don't mind Our Time.
Do you not?
No, I don't. I don't mind it.
Our Time is my number 4.
Our Time's your number 4.
Yeah,
it's my number 10.
Well.
You know what it is? It's that I've seen it too many times in Sondheim celebrations with kids.
Oh.
I've seen a lot of kids sing Our Time, and it is like, that is too saccharine to me.
Yeah.
That annoys me. We can litigate this. I can give you Our Time, I guess. Well, we'll see. We're not there yet. Years from now, we'll remember and we'll come back by the rooftop and hang a plaque. This is where we began, being what we can. No, I like it. I think it's a very nice song. You know what I do like? Two specific. I mean, obviously, I just met the girl I ought to marry, because I'm a deeply, tragic and sad man. So I love any sort of glimpse at misery. And obviously, that is the moment that Mary will have held on to for, 20 years? Longer?
Wow.
And then I love the introduction to Evelyn. You're with guys, that's Evelyn. And Charlie's little look. I think that's great. Because in the original book and all that sort of things, Evelyn was a whole character. But time after time, they had to cut it down. You can't have all these characters. And so I like the little glimpse that we have of Charlie's wife and all that sort of stuff. And then it has it's a wonderful life quality to it. Everybody coming on, even if it is just a dream, and everybody coming on, but then everybody leaving and life flashing before him. And
I think the ending was very that bit. Just going back to the three of them and that exchange, I think is the saddest part of the show for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? What is sadder, starting there and ending with that Frank, or starting with that Frank and bit by bit? I mean, I'm sad from like what, like Bobby and Jackie and Jack onwards. I'm like so sad. Because you just know where it's all going to go, and that is 10 times more effective to me than, I don't know, last 5 years or any. I don't know. I mean, I guess the you know what it is. I think it's because we know that relationships can end, whereas friendships are this sort of evergreen thing that you never think will end.
Yeah, that's very beautiful, Tom.
Friendships end because you don't maintain them. I mean, you could say that about relationships, but like relationships have a lot more reasons to end because they're deeply emotional, they're deeply intense, and anything could go wrong at any minute.
Yeah.
Traveling and all that sort of thing, that ends a friendship, and all sorts of stuff. Are you laughing because I'm currently traveling around the world?
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't mean it that way.
It's just you sowing the seeds.
This is me saying the podcast is done. And then, you know what I think is a bit of a bad direction in this production? Why does he smile at the end?
What, before he grabs his thing?
Script. That would be one hell of an ending. Merrily, just zip.
And then the lights go out. Oh dear.
I don't know why he's like. I mean, obviously he's smiling because it's like good times. But that's so. I mean, I guess that's again more depressing. Who knows? Thus ends Merrily We Roll Along. Merrily We Roll Along ends, Will. What is your initial reaction?
We're just going back on the ending. Did something I didn't like. Just on the purely of the production that we watched.
Yeah.
I've written down this in capitals, so it must have really irritated me at the time. But neither of the three get their own bow. I hate this in musicals.
I hate this too. I hate it. And you know what? It's even worse in plays.
Yeah.
Plays. So many goddamn plays bring all 12 people on.
Imagine playing the lead. You've worked so hard for this, and so let's say this is the first leading part you've ever played in your life, and you don't get your own bow.
Because like obviously somebody can make the argument that they're all in it, that they're three leads. But Frank is definitely the lead.
Yeah, they can all bow together, and then one by one they all take a bow.
Yeah, and then all come together again.
Yeah,
I loved A Streetcar Named Desire with Gillian Anderson. They were so perfectly structured bows.
Yeah.
Whereas I saw, like, it was Red Virginia Woolf, all four of them came on, all four of them bowed. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure. But Martha and George need to bow.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Martha and George bowing together.
Yeah.
But even then, George needs to stand back and let Martha bow. And Martha needs to stand back and let George bow.
I guess that's very in character.
We have let bows... This is the travesty that nobody talks about modern theatre. I mean, I've done the impression of people running and doing bows all the time, and people love it when I do it because it's just so. It's a really good impression I do of that sort of smiley. I mean, I've not got my camera on, but that sort of smiley running up as fast as you can, and then 1, 2, and you know what I hate even more? Dancing bows.
No, if it's like the dance team, the dance ensemble, that's fine. If it's the group.
I don't know. I'm failing.
My bow has evolved. Nowadays, I do more of a put my hands together in the thank you sort of and bends. and put my hands on my thighs as I go down.
You've taken that from me.
I've not. No.
I always go. I hate people who do the whole stony face. You've been lucky to see me, even when they're, crying or whatever. And then it's like, oh, just put a smile on. They've sat through 3 hours of you talking.
I bowed in character in curtains. You may have noticed.
Oh,
because I don't want to brag, but I did get the loudest applause every night.
You did get the loudest applause.
Supporting character, and I walked on to a rapturous applause, and I just put my arms up and went, darlings, there we go.
You did do that, yes, you did. It was basically our bows at the end of Hitler Carol.
Yes.
Where at the back, because it was Brechtian, and yeah. I was, again, that was something I fought for. I edited a whole musical thing together. Everybody got their own song.
About since would it be more Brechtian? Because obviously in Brechtian theatre, one device is for multi-role, and we played many roles each. Would it have been quite wow if we bowed for every role we played?
That would have been pretty good, Will. You should have said that.
Yeah, that would have been great.
And we'd have had to rush to do all the costume changes.
Yeah.
No, because it would have been very awkward, because at a certain point, the person who we didn't like would have ran out of roles and would have had to just stand on the side whilst me and you did another couple of laps. Yes, no, that's true. Let's touch on this now before we move on. Top lyrics. Before we move on to production history. I have, in the original version of that, Frank, it was called Rich and Happy. I like these lyrics. Life is swinging, skies are blue and bells are ringing. Every day I wake up singing, look at me, I'm rich and happy. Days go zipping, sitting by the pool and tripping. Everybody's flipping. Everybody's rich or happy. I've got 4 more, but what have you got?
I've not written down lyrics, Tom.
That's all right, I'll allow it. What a friend, what a host, and his work is great. Has a wife who is gorgeous, a son who's straight. He's the type you could easily learn to hate, that Frank. I just love that a son who's straight. You can't even, his son's not this gay hippie or something, and we can't even get that up on him. He is unflappable. I like that. Franklin Shepherd, he flies off to California. I discuss him with my shrink. That's the story of the way we work, me and Franklin Shepherd Inc. And Bobby and Jackie and Jack, I of course love. Well, one is good looking and young and rich. Well, one is good looking and young and rich. The rest are good looking and young and rich. It's very funny. And of course, Will, in your Christmas cards for the past couple of years, I have put most friends fade or they don't make the grade. New ones are quickly made in a pinch. Sure, they'll do. But us old friends, what's to discuss, old friends? Who's to us? Who's like us? Damn few. Which, of course, that'll be in your Christmas card for many years to come. Apart from this year, because I won't be with you.
You're not even going to send me a Christmas card?
From the sea?
Yeah.
You don't send me one. I know, you sent me one last year.
I did. We had a wonderful little COVID walk around the castle.
We did, yes, like a divorced couple.
Let's just get this over with then, shall we?
Yeah. Have you got the card for the family? We'll be back in just a minute to look at the history of Merrily We Roll Along, and then to choose our top 5 songs, or 6, we'll see how we go, and put them in. We'll be back in just a minute. I was just thinking, Will, how the fact that this episode has so many tangents and the fact that it has so many reminiscences for the both of us is actually quite apt, isn't it?
Ah,
I know, very sweet, very touching. And I'll be seeing you in 2 days, Will, for a nice party.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Production history. So, 1983, the UK premiere of Merrily We Roll Along is actually at Guildhall School of Music and Drama. So it's actually premieres at a college because there was no rush for a West End West End transfer. Same case, its professional debut was actually at a place called the Library Theatre Company in Manchester in 1984. Again, no rush for there to be a West End transfer. 1985. Now, this is an incredibly important production. It's at San Diego's La Jolla Playhouse. And you know why it's important?
Why?
Well, not only does it make Merrily on its way to the show that we know it to be now, with the introduction of Going Up and the change, Growing Up, and the change to That Frank from Rich and Happy, with a lot of the other lyric changes in Now You Know and other songs. But this is also directed by James Lapine. And this is somebody Sondheim had met beforehand, but of course, with Sunday in the Park with George and Into the Woods and Passion would become the next great collaborator of his life. Indeed. The cast included some of your favourites, Will. Chip Zine as Charlie.
Sorry, who?
Chip.
Oh, Chip. Sorry, you cut out. I love Chip. Chip's great.
Yeah, Chip's great. And the wonderful Marin Mazzy as Beth. Now, the role of Beth gets lumped around a lot as either one of the worst roles ever or, pardon me, as a great one, depending on the actress. Now, we'll talk about Marin Mazzy. Actually, I don't know when we'll talk about it. I think we can talk about it when it comes to Passion. But just an absolutely incredible Broadway performer with an unfortunate, untimely death to cancer. But she performs. You know what you might have seen her, Will, in. Have you seen the Red Dress 80th Sondheim concert?
No.
The one where Patty sings Losing My Ladies of Lunch.
No.
Well, anyway, she sings Losing My Mind, and it's absolutely phenomenal. But she sings Beth and that. So that's a pivotal production. 1990, we get a production with Victor Garber as the wonderful role of what am I saying? Frank, the wonderful Frank. So Rich, for his review, I don't have a first name here. Rich, Frank Rich. It must be Frank Rich. Many of the major flaws of the 1981 Merrily, starting with its notorious gymnasium setting, have long since been jettisoned or rectified in intervening versions. He called the score exceptional. So it's around this time that people are suddenly, no, we like it now. Which is just incredibly unfortunate. Here's my sliding doors moment. If Merrily We Roll Along is a hit, does Sondheim keep going with Hal Prince?
With what?
With Hal Prince.
Oh, I think it's the other way around. Does Hal Prince keep going with Sondheim?
Okay. No, but Hal Prince continued working on Broadway. Sondheim with Sunday moved to off-Broadway, and then Sunday transferred.
Yeah.
So Sondheim sort of went back to Broadway begrudgingly, almost. Who knows? We'll find out.
Mandy Patinkin.
With Mandy, yeah, we've got so much Patinkin talk.
Oh, I can't bring on the Patinkin.
Bring on Patinkin.
I can do my
there was an there was an issue with the costume changes, with Franklin changing costumes and hair far too much, and so the producer Marsha Milgrain Dodge said to Sondheim, what if Franklin stayed in his tux the whole time and the whole thing was his life flashing before his eyes? And then Sondheim said back to her, Marsha, that may be the most brilliant idea I've ever heard, or it may be like Hal telling me that everyone's going to wear sweatshirts with their names on. But of course, I think that's a genuinely exceptional idea.
I think I know what this is now. My whole life is flashing before me.
Almost. 1992, we get a West End premiere in, yes, indeed, with, oh no, that's a lie, the Haymarket Theatre, Leicester, with Maria Friedman as Mary.
Love the Curve. I love Curve. Curve's great.
This is the Haymarket.
I know, I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, in the year 2000, Wow, in the year 2000, the show finally received its West End premiere at the Donmar Warehouse with some names that you'll know, Will. Julian Ovenden as Frank,
Oh.
I can see. Daniel Evans as Charlie, who's a name that will come up when we talk about Sunday in the Park with George. Performer and actor. Apparently he's Welsh. Have you seen clips of him as George yet?
No.
He's when they do George. He does George with Jenna Russell, and they're all British.
Ooh.
And she's like Cockney, and she goes, "Look at what you are, not at what you do." So yeah, I know you know full well what my opinion on that is.
Yeah.
And Samantha
You know
Spiro.
what I hate?
Go on.
And I'm gonna and Helena Bonham Carter falls into this category.
Okay.
When people do Cockney accents but just sound brummy.
Yeah,
I don't want to fret now, dear.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
are
I'll
you?
give you that.
I'm Cockney. I'm so Cockney. You're from Birmingham.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Samantha Spiro. Oh, you know, she sort of made a bit of a career out of the brilliant impersonation of Barbara Windsor.
Yeah.
However, you might know her, Will. I know you're a Sex Education fan. She's the wife of the principal.
Yes. No, she was. Well, she was in something as well recently that she was very good in.
Did you watch Psycho Bitches?
No.
That's great. No, that's really good. Well, I see here that she was in Horrible Histories, the movie.
No, I didn't see that. What else? Keep doing the discography.
Bigoted woman in Not Going Out.
No.
She was in Call the Midwife. She was in Midsummer Murders.
No.
She was in a Doctor Who episode called The Doctor Falls.
No.
Capaldi. She was in Plebs for 2 episodes.
Try films.
No. Oh, she was in Me Before You.
No.
No films. It's not going to be a film. I don't know. Well, I don't think she was in Bad Education as Professor Celia Green.
No. This
I
is
don't
going to
know.
annoy me now. It's going to annoy me, Tom.
I know it will. But yeah, she has a wonderful illustrious theatre career. She was in a production of A Little Night Music, and she was in a production of Hello Dolly. That's the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre.
Oh.
And yes, Samantha Spiro and Daniel Evans both received Olivier Awards for their performances, and the production received the Olivier Award for Best New Musical, which I find very funny. Don't you find it funny when it's a late
new musical? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time it's been on Broadway, and first time it's been on the West End, so technically it still counts. And then yes, as part of the Sondheim celebration at the Kennedy Center, where they did all of the shows thus far. Raul Esparza played Charlie, and he is excellent. Although on Charlie. I know, I was going to say the exact same thing. He plays Charlie, and his Franklin Shepherd Inc. is obviously incredible, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you cast him as Frank?
I would.
Yeah, I know. Michael Hayden as Frank, which I don't have really any information on him. I'm afraid he made his Broadway debut in the role of Billy in a 1994 Broadway revival of Carousel. So I mean, he must be pretty good to open in Carousel.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's that. Yeah, no, Raul Esparza was I thought it was very, very good. Huge shouting break at the end, like literally shouting the lines, but then can still do his incredible belt.
Yeah.
On the inside. A very, very good performance. 2002, same year, there was a original Broadway one-night cast reuniting with Jim Walton and Lonnie Price and Ann Morrison, and it is emotional. The footage that you do get, they're all incredibly emotional. During like old friends and that sort of stuff, and they've, in a weird meta element, they've aged into how the roles would be cast contemporaneously. Almost. And Sondheim and Prince were in attendance. Jason Alexander sounds exactly the same. It's quite incredible, actually. Will, are you ready for this?
I am.
Are you ready to talk about our favourite person?
Yes.
2008, John Doyle directed a production at the Watermill Theatre in Berkshire.
What was different about this production?
They all played their own instruments well.
Oh, really? Did?
Yeah. But it makes sense for me with the piano with Frank. But
Yes.
what about everybody else? Mary has a triangle.
Of course she does.
And Lonnie has a trumpet and leaves the Old Friends reprise in It's a Hit to go play his trumpet.
Oh, no.
It just doesn't make any sense. Good thing going, this beautiful, we had a good thing going at the party. Gussie's laid out on the piano playing the violin.
My question with John Doyle is, does in the audition requirements, did he say, we are looking for
Actor musicians?
We're looking for a Mary who can play trumpet, let's say. Or
Right, yeah.
when they turn up, do we say, oh, this is what I play? Do you sacrifice good, incredible performers for performers that can play instruments?
Well, that's what they did with Company, wasn't it? They sacrificed Raul Esperanza and got him and just made him learn Being Alive on the piano, because he doesn't play anything else for the rest of the show. Nor, again, Patty. They got Patty to do Sweeney and made her learn one tuba song. Yeah. So, he forgoes his whole thing multiple times just to get leads. It was played without an intermission. Another choice that I'm sure you didn't see coming.
He wants to make it clear it's not a gimmick. He doesn't want to be defined by this.
Yeah, so it's not a gimmick. I don't want people to look. He's a very calm English man. And then there's an interview with Gussie, and she talks about how John would say to us, we act the lines, but we play the subtext. What does that even mean? I'm acting the line as written, but my violin is playing all the texture. I don't know. And there's a young teenage Frank watching the whole show, it seems, and it ends with him playing the piano for our time. Again, a fine choice. But at the end of the day, it's just a random kid walking around with a flute. How, Anyway, we've railed into John Doyle enough. I'm pretty sure this is it. I don't think he's done Sunday, and I don't think he's done Into the Woods. But we'll find out.
In the future.
I know. Lapine directed it again in 2019 for The Encores. Lin-Manuel Miranda as Charlie.
Yes, and you said it was very good.
No,
I've got it in writing.
Okay, I take it back. I might have said that so that you listened to it. I don't know. He stands up at the end of Franklin Shepherd Inc. and walks forward and does a whole screaming match. And I know that that's direction, but it's just stupid. I don't believe that anymore as a reckless TV interview. I mean, I know obviously Joker shoots Robert De Niro, but I just don't believe it. I know.
Obviously, Joker shoots Robert De Niro.
It's actually Robert De Niro's Crete monster. It was 12 days rehearsal, and they have to hold their scripts because it's one of these staged concert things.
Yeah.
Which works in opening doors because, they're holding their files and all that sort of stuff, but is annoying for the rest. It was all done with a big LED screen. Again, I don't know what, I don't know what to say there. Yeah. 2021. Now, I forgot which company, which drama school this was. But I was reading the comments of somebody's drama school production, like a proper London drama school, and they had it with it opening on Mary's funeral.
Oh,
And Frank and Charlie stood across the coffin from one another.
I love it. I love it.
Then, dun, 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 rolling along into that Frank. Then, the ending.
There's a big line of coke off the
across the coffin. And then she pops out like the start of John Doyle's Sweeney Todd. No, I'm having not much fun. That would be pretty fun. And then the final bookend is them going back to the funeral and Frank and Charlie doing a big sad hug.
Oh,
I think that works very well.
yeah, I like that.
Because like watching it this time, I did feel a bit like, all right, but what happens after this party? His wife's blinded a woman. Is this rock bottom for Frank, or does he just marry this Meg woman? Does he leave Gussie? You know, what happens here? Actually, I know it sort of is, you know, makes Mary this. I mean, she's already a sad and tragic figure.
Yeah.
And I like the realism of how it's done here, but I do kind of like the melodrama of that bookends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2023, we will be seeing a new revival with Jonathan Groff as Franklin.
Yeah, see that.
Again, this actually we've gone full circle because this is Maria Friedman directing again. They never at the New York Theatre Workshop. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same production, but she's directing it again. Lindsay Mendez as Mary. I don't know her by name. She has been an Elphaba in Wicked.
That's another one where they don't have to imagine playing Elphaba and not having your own bow.
Is that? Do they both bow?
They both bow together.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That is bad. Popular is not the same as defying gravity. You know what that is? That's Kristen all those years ago demanding it, and now it's no, we like Kristen. And Daniel Radcliffe as Charlie.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah,
he's got a theatre career. Will he did have to succeed in business.
He was good in business.
I know it's not the most exciting. I'm excited about Jonathan Groff.
I love Jonathan Groff.
I think Jonathan Groff is great. Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to watch it. It's November to January.
Well, you're not free November to January, Tom.
No, in New York City, and so I won't be able to see it.
You really are the most
devious bastard. Yeah, no, that's that. Film adaptation. Biggest news in a long time. 2019. Blumhouse Productions. Jason Blum, horror maestro, but also made Whiplash. Acquired the rights to Merrily We Roll Along with Richard Linklater directing, and with Richard Linklater directing, and he's going to do it like he does everything over 20 years
with different actors.
No, over 20 years.
He's going to do a Moonlight.
No, he's going to do a Boyhood.
That's what I meant.
He made Boyhood, Will, remember?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So he's going to do it like Boyhood, but over 20 years. They're reportedly shooting this year, the first sequence, which will be them doing the Our Time sequence.
So it's coming out in 2040-ish.
Yes.
Wow.
Again, I don't want to be dark. Richard Linklater will be 82. Again, this just doesn't seem advised. Do you think? Let's get dark. Do you think it'll be one of those things where because when they were filming Priory Home Companion, Robert Altman's last movie, Robert Altman brought in Paul Thomas Anderson to overshadow just in case he died. Do you think that Richard Linklater is making this film with a protege?
He's going to bring in Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, no.
And I could see that happening.
Do you know who's cast?
Ben Platt.
Yes. Was that a joke?
No, I'm on the Wikipedia page.
Oh, right, yeah.
You're going to ask me what movie there's a school production of Merrily We Roll Along in as well, weren't you?
Oh, Ladybird.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't actually.
Oh.
Ben Platt is going to be Charlie again. I think that's fine. Or is it? Is it? Is this the Emperor's New Clothes? Is Ben Platt actually that good? Obviously, the film was atrocious.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of Ben Platt's.
Neither have I. And also, like Beanie Feldstein.
Oh, of Funny Girl fame.
Oh, Funny Girl infamy. I bought huge stock in Beanie Feldstein after, Ladybird and Booksmart. And then it turns out that she's this, Broadway child and all that sort of stuff. And she loves Broadway. And her and Ben Platt are best friends. And, they're best friends. They've known each other for years. And so that works, sure. But every time I've ever heard Beanie Feldstein sing, it's good and it's fine. But I don't know.
She can read, though.
Yes, she can. And then this is the other thing. I don't want to be really down about this film because obviously it's going to be an incredible achievement. Blake Jenner is who they've hired.
What, the guy from Glee?
The guy from Glee. Do you want to know what else happened in 2019, Will? Melissa Benoit is engaged, his wife from Glee. Do you remember her?
Who does she play?
Do a Wikipedia.
Dua Lipa?
Do a Wikipedia. She's a very beautiful blonde woman. She played Marley. She played Marley Rose.
Oh, Mark, yes. Oh, because they were Danny and Sandy.
Were they? Oh, I
Yeah.
watched that. Anyway, so this happened in 2019. She releases an Instagram video chronicling her experience as a survivor of domestic abuse. A series of horrid allegations. Now she doesn't say it's Blake Jenner. But there's only
they are divorced.
Yeah, they're divorced, and she said that the injury happened in 2015, which is when they were together. He has then come out and said that he admitted to causing one of the injuries and confirmed that there was abuse in the relationship, but says that a lot of the abuse was also from her. Whoa. And then she responded, but in the original video, she said that there was elements of self-defense. I don't know why the film wasn't stopped and recast. Honestly, I just don't. It just made there's not one other than Richard Linklater, who is one of my fave directors. There isn't a piece of this movie that really truly excites me completely.
It really doesn't excite me at all.
Yeah,
purely because Ben Platt's in it. Ben
Platt, Beanie Feldstein, who I have all the time in the world for, but now I don't rate her as a singer or a performer. And Blake Jenner's, most likely, quite literally, most likely an abuser.
Well,
I'll see you in 2040. and yeah,
hey, we'll both be married by then, Tom.
Will we? It's not looking good right now. 90, 20, 40, 20, 39. Just think, Will, Merrily We Roll Along spans 20 years.
Yeah.
2020, COVID, would have been our time sequence. Starting this podcast. No, Will, we're going to start a podcast. And it's gonna fill all of our time, and it's a way that we can stay in contact, and who knows, maybe it's successful. See, something is stirring, shifting ground. Yeah, no, this film is, I think, at best will become a bit of an oddity. Who knows? Maybe maybe it'll become one of these great projects that never. Who knows? I quite literally know nothing. This is the other thing.
I quite literally don't care.
That was big. I feel sorry for you. I don't think about you at all.
Mad Men.
Mad Men. Let's talk dream casts. Now, you know who somebody who we haven't talked about in any of these things, even though we love him and he can sing?
Hugh Jackman.
Reese. No, we talk about Hugh Jackman a lot, and Hugh Jackman would. Oh my God, this is incredible.
Great.
Hugh Jackman as Frank.
Yes.
Reese Shearsmith as Charlie.
And Jennifer
And Imelda Staunton as Mary. Christine Baranski as Beth.
Yeah.
No, actually, Christine Baranski as Gussie.
Mm.
Well,
No, that was just an agreement.
hello down there. Quiz question: what is that a Baranski reference to? Hi there.
It's probably Mamma Mia.
No, it was the Grinch when she's putting her lights up. Any dream cast, Will?
Hugh Jackman.
Yes. I don't know. I'm
Have you seen-
surprised.
Did I send you because it's the Les Mis 75th anniversary this year?
It could be, yeah.
Did I send you the video of all of the cast from the film getting back together and singing One Day More? And
Getting back together.
yeah, they're in a studio. They've been recording One Day More.
No, you
Or
haven't.
maybe rehearsing. They're all there. And Russell Crowe's staring deeply into the MD's eyes and clicking along so he can get his timing. We'll be ready for this. It's great. I'll find the video and send it to you.
Yeah, do find that, please. And just play it at my funeral. Okay, let's talk songs then. So, let's do some cuts. The Blob. Growing Up. Good Thing Going. Like It Was. Right, now we've got 10. So let's cut Now You Know. Let's cut It's a Hit. Now I believe that we have all of our overlap. Well, no. So what are our overlaps? Not a Day Goes By, That Frank,
Yeah.
Old Friends,
Why so shy?
Franklin.
Our Time. No, not Our Time. Not a Day Goes By. Yeah, it's just those 3.
4.
4.
Okay, so Not a Day Goes By, That Frank, Old Friends, and Franklin Shepherd Inc. are locked.
Okay.
Then we've got Opening Doors, Bobby and Jackie and Jack, Merrily We Roll Along, and Our Time. I think Opening Doors has to be in there.
I would say so, yeah.
Opening Doors, and I'd put it above Franklin Shepherd Inc.
Yes, I would agree.
Opening Doors. Then I'm actually all right losing Bobby and Jackie and Jack.
Thank you.
Which then leaves us with Our Time and Merrily We Roll Along. I would rather have Merrily We Roll Along than Our Time.
Yeah.
Or do you want both?
I put Merrily higher in my list, so it makes sense.
Let's go for Merrily. Okay, so Not a Day Goes By, That Frank, Old Friends, Opening Doors. In that order.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've sent you what the current ranking looks like.
I've noticed that Sondheim, in his opening numbers, makes the opening number the name of the show.
Pacific Overtures.
You've got
That was a
Company. I know.
Yeah.
You got Company.
You've got Company.
Merrily We Roll Along. You've
Merrily
got
We Roll Along.
Attend the Tale of Sweeney Todd.
All right, you're stretching it.
No, all right, okay. You've got Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, yeah. You do have Sunday in the Park with George. And that's it.
Okay.
I guess it's a mission. I guess it's a statement. Okay, so cut. We're going down here. All right, so where's the lowest? So our time, where is that coming? Where is that coming in? I don't think. Let's have a look. I think it gets into the third column. I think maybe You Don't Like by the Sea. Maybe New 50.
Yes.
Yep. 1 minute. Okay, so that is going to be new 50, which will eventually actually become New 54. Merrily We Roll Along, I'd say actually New 52.
Electric Boogaloo.
Hot 5. Franklin Shepherd Inc. Where do you think Franklin Shepherd Inc.?
I would put that at our New 43.
Okay, so just below Story of Lucy and Jessie. You're playing to my ears, well, you know what. No. I prefer Story of Lucy and Jessie. I know that that's insane.
I prefer that song, and I'm doing the spreadsheet, so that's basically.
Opening doors. We're into some good stuff now.
Opening doors.
I'd say Franklin Shepherd Inc., Story of Lucy and Jessie, Opening Doors, You Could Drive a Person Crazy, Together Wherever We Go.
Yeah, because it's not better than them two.
Yeah. Then Final Scene, Old Friends. I think Not a Day Goes By could be in the top 20.
Yeah. Old Friends is low. Where do we rank Old Friends?
Currently, we've got left to put in Not a Day Goes By, That Frank, and Old Friends.
Is it better than Final Scene?
Yes.
No. Oh, okay.
Because Final Scene is just that reprise.
Oh no. Oh, Final Scene is Attend the Tales.
No. Final Scene is But I Loved You.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just above that.
I'd say it's a better song. Yeah. Then Anyone Can Whistle. I didn't do enough spaces. That Frank is on the same sort of vibe as Comedy Tonight for me.
Yeah. I would say it's better.
Oh, would you? Okay.
No.
No.
Oh no, it is. It is. I enjoyed that, Frank.
Okay.
It's not better than Somewhere for me.
Well, this is the problem with the ranking, Willie.
Todd and God, That's Good. And
you should have fought for these things. You should have fought for these things when they were on the table.
I think you'll find I did.
Where's I think Not a Day Goes By is better than Pretty Women.
Really?
And everybody ought to have a maid.
Yeah. Okay, let's put it 15.
Okay. Not a Day Goes By. Well, that is it. Our new top 20. A Little Priest, Being Alive, The Ladies Who Lunch, Losing My Mind, Sending the Clowns, Epiphany, Company, Rosa's Turn, Could I Leave You, Getting Married Today, Take Me to the World, Something's Coming, I'm Still Here, Everything's Coming Up Roses, Not a Day Goes By, Everybody Ought to Have a Maid, Pretty Women, That Frank, Comedy Tonight. And then Tonight Quintet. Great stuff. Well, some great songs in there, of course. It's a very good ranking. We've above rankings, because obviously it gets very murky when it comes to a lot of the sort of middle area.
I'm looking at our top 10, and it's made up of very few shows.
In a good way?
Yeah, in a good way.
I think
it's Gypsy, Follies, Company, Todd heavy. Yeah.
Again, though, as I think a lot of Into the Woods is going to get in the sort of 20 to 40 zone. Is there a single Into the Woods song that's going to crack the top 20?
I think there could be a couple. I think there might be one for me or a couple for me that might make top 10.
Oh, wow.
Woods.
I've got one that could. Yeah, I've got one that could, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see immediately, because we are breaking chronology, Will, for the first time and the last time. We are not doing Sunday in the Park with George next episode due to various reasons, boring reasons, blah 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 blah. Instead, we're doing Into the Woods and then a second episode on the Into the Woods film.
With famous restaurant abuser James Corden.
Yes, with famous restaurant lover James Corden. Yes.
Tom, we haven't spoken about Angela Lansbury.
Yes, we haven't, Will. So on our previous episodes, you can hear my smile. Will, you've got 2 minutes. In previous episodes, of course, Angela Lansbury had not passed. At time of recording, the wonderful Angela Lansbury, the incredible Angela Lansbury, who I think I always proclaimed as one of our great leading ladies, has since passed. You'll remember in those Sweeney Todd episodes and other episodes, I would say, Will, remember the woman is in her 80s. Will did not heed my warning, and Will, is there anything you'd like to say about Miss Lansbury?
As a result.
Yes. Is there anything you'd like to say about Miss Lansbury, Will?
She was great in Nanny McPhee.
Who was she in Nanny McPhee?
Aunt something.
I'm going to give you the first letter.
Yeah. It is Aunt.
Nanny McPhee.
The person you need is
Angela Lansbury as Great Aunt Lady.
Great Aunt Lady.
A.
Adelaide. Something.
S.
AS.
AS. You've got Adelaide.
Oh, I got Adelaide. Oh, good. Adelaide Ashworth.
I said AS. Adelaide Stitch. Do you remember the fourth Lilo and Stitch movie where it's Lilo and Dame Angela Lansbury? So yes, we're God rest your wonderful soul, Miss Lansbury. I always loved you, and will now will say publicly that he loved you too. Next, Will, yes, we are not going to the park with George. We are going into the woods. And out of the woods.
And home before dark.
I was going to say happily ever after. Well, either way.
That says a lot about you, doesn't it, Tom?
Actually, surely it's the other way around. I'm the horror. Anyway, right, the Zoom's about to end. Love you, Will. Bye.
Bye.
Rolling along.
Da ba da ba da ba da da.